Hey guys, welcome to the Two Hippies, One Drunk on the Road edition. Thank you so much for tuning in again. We are currently traveling the country and your support means the world to us. This is all self-funded, and if you want to help us grow the podcast and continue to do what we do, there are a couple of ways you can do that. Cash donations are always very much appreciated. We couldn't be doing this without your help, and every little bit counts. Another way you can help is by reviewing us and rating us 5 stars on iTunes. This massively increases our visibility and helps people find us. Lastly, another way you can help us is by subscribing to our Two Hippies, One Drunk Facebook page and sharing our short videos that we've been making. We release content every day, and it's a great way of interacting with us and helping us grow. All right, and with that, let's kick off the show for this week.
As he said, this is the Two Hippies, One Drunk on the Road edition, and we're coming this week from Garden City, Kansas, and we'll be covering our time in Louisville, Nashville, and Arkansas. We are a little behind, so we probably will... wherever we get you today, we're gonna double up this week and do another one of these. We never really quite recovered from when I got back from my parents. Plus, due to comedy scheduling, the last really 2 weeks has been pretty intense. A lot of long drives just to do comedy and stuff. So anyway, we left off. We were in Knoxville and we went up to Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep.
And so that was
right across the bridge.
And we were actually staying in Indiana.
Yep.
Indiana, which was across from the Louisville River, I guess.
Can I just say I hate this, and I will be saying Louisville.
Well, then you will be judged by everyone in Louisville.
Hey, what is this? What is this? You have this like Kentucky town, and everybody talks like they have a dick in their mouth?
You want to go over cities in Michigan that we all know that doesn't make any sense to anybody else?
What do you have?
Sheboygan, Mackinac. I mean, I'm trying to think.
No, those are still phonetic.
No.
Yeah. Sheboygan, absolutely.
There are
Mackinac,
states in
AC. You're allowed to do it all with an AC. That's allowed. That is phonetic.
Mackinac Island, Mackinac.
Yeah.
I mean,
Louisville. They're saying it the same. They're just gargling it.
I think you not being able to say this word really upsets you.
I'm from Louisville.
Well, again, I mean,
you sound like you have a dick in your mouth. They don't entirely sound like that.
I'd have to go over more of these cities, but there is a decent amount of cities in Michigan that have some very odd names that other people would not know how to pronounce. I don't remember where I'm trying to remember where.
And you can sound like a non-local with your Louisville. All day.
Well, and here's the thing, like I was saying too, yes, you could say cities like Mackinac or something like that you need to kind of know how to pronounce it. But
Sheboygan wasn't even it. I'm trying to think. There was other ones I was thinking.
But when they say Louisville, they're saying Louisville. They're just they're doing it like
because they have an accent.
They're Southern.
They have an accent.
Yeah, that's
you're not allowed to put an accent into a name. You say it in whatever accent you have.
If you're from there, you get to decide whatever the hell.
Right, it's your city.
Yeah. So they get to decide.
That's their city.
That's the slogan of the city. You know, I can't remember exactly what I just said, but that's the slogan. If you listen back.
And so it was funny because this was one of those situations where there was a hotel that I did think was a little suspect in how cheap it was based on it being kind of downtown, but I thought, what are you gonna do? And it was funny because it did have a kitchen, but it had a situation where like we wouldn't use the kitchen worked, like the stuff the electronic the stuff to cook worked, but like none of us would use any of the utensils or plates. We all used our own shit because none of us trusted that. Even if you washed it, I didn't really trust it, to be honest with you.
No, when you open the cabinets, it had a very distinct musky smell. Like that, it's just, and also when you touched the stuff in it, it was like a little grainy.
Well, and that's the problem too, is it's like, okay, you wash the plates, well then they have to go back to where the plates are stored. And I'm not cleaning their cabinets.
Right.
Like, that is true.
Having said that, it really was an awesome hotel as far as location, and Louisville ended up being a very big surprise city in the sense that it was really cool, a really cool kind of downtown area, actually.
Yeah, honestly, we didn't really get to explore as much as you and I went to that baseball game or baseball game, and that was fun. But like, we didn't really get to explore it to the fullest extent that I feel like that city offers.
And I know you've talked before about how Tyler and I are not sports fans, and I feel like mixing up baseball and basketball is a pretty egregious sports mix-up.
Is it?
They're not very similar.
They got balls in the name.
They do play with balls. It is quite different, but that's okay. They start with a B, I guess.
The size of the ball is different.
Yes. Several
playing it. It's indoors. I'll give you a couple examples from a non-sportsman perspective.
And I will say, I didn't talk about this for a long time, but I saving up for this trip, I did a lot of food delivery, and I'm able to do that on the road. And I do think I've been trying to do it at other cities, but without getting into the nerdiness of how this works, it wasn't that doable in a lot of other cities. And Louisville, it was one of them. And by doing that, it did give me more of a perspective. Even though I didn't get to do anything, I'm driving around. I was like, oh, there's a lot more hipster like there was a lot of sections of that little town that were very cool.
Yeah.
And so I think that did help me get a little more perspective.
This was not how you described your time doing DoorDash when you got back to the hotel. You're making it sound very pleasant. And like, I got to explore the city. When we got back, it was like these fucking people downtown in these office buildings.
I'm looking back. That's just a little instant, like something that very specific day someone was an annoying customer.
And I would say another inconvenience to that is your GPS constantly told you to go down one way.
I have found on this GPS through your iPhone, Apple phone GPS that I use is like legit. I've caught it now several times telling me to go down a wrong way down a one-way street. And it happened here, and it just happened even again recently when we were staying somewhere else. But yeah, that was it. No, I mean, there's always little things like that. But I mean, my point is, like, I have noticed the few cities I've gotten to do it now in. It is a nice excuse. Like, I've done it here in Garden City too. And it's like, it does give me a reason to drive around a little bit.
Check out the town.
And not feel like I'm because I'm such a money saving nerd that I just don't like, even if I get in my car, I'm like, if there's not a purpose, that means I'm spending gas and stuff like that.
Whereas you can kind of justify it. I'm getting paid to explore.
Yeah, not a ton, but I am getting paid. So, I mean, it works out pretty good, actually. I love it. It's why I'm on this trip mostly. So we were there. We had an interesting story. We were planning on doing comedy. We did comedy one night, which was really fun. We had the first of two people in a week, by the way, a blind comic that I, at one point doing my set, he at one point laughed at something. And I was like, whoa, this guy's been sitting here stone-faced the whole time. And finally he gives me a little something on this awkward.
Staring into the nothing that he can't see.
Right. And it's like, I found out later he's blind. But that was interesting. Like, we had two blind comics within a week and a half period, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then we did karaoke after. That was fun.
quite a time.
And Tyler won that raffle.
Oh, I did. I completely forgot about that. They had a raffle. They had like a wheel there too, which was cool, like, and unique, that you could spin, and it would say like, just do an accent or like talk about something specific in the city or like whatever. And the host was really nice. Like, honestly, I was kind of dreading it because I had my guitar. So I was like, I do not want to spin this wheel and have to like do something with that.
Because there was a wheel. There was a wheel where you spin it, and whatever it lands on, you kind of are supposed to riff on.
To pick, yeah, you kind of like do the subject. But the host was like, you don't have to do this. This is not like something that's required. Saying that
it's a little fun thing.
Like, Eric was second up and just, went into that wheel. Just used that wheel so did Scott, like, rightfully so, which is awesome that you guys even had that opportunity. And I love that both of you did do it, because it seemed like,
why? For our situation, why not?
Yeah,
it's like, it's a little different.
No, and this was a dive bar show. There was not a ton of people there, and the wheel really elevated it. Like, it made it one of my favorite dive bar nights, to be honest.
And then now we did talk about this kind of already in that Road Life episode where we talk about comedy on the road, but it was an interesting situation too, where we ended up getting on a comedy club where, like, we're sitting outside, and I was going to take a night off, and Tyler had been emailing another person about trying to get on a show, and that person was like, oh, sorry, slots are full, but you can do this comedy club, which was like, you got to be there by 6, sign up. And we literally found out, and again, I know we kind of talked about this in the Road Life episode.
6:18.
But yeah, 6:18. And
So
we're like,
we
we
had
have
12. I had to wake Scott up from sleeping. Like it was literally like we had 9 minutes to get there, and it was like packed with comics.
Right,
too.
we barely got on.
We were 18, what was it? 17, 18, and 19.
Yeah. And I don't remember exactly what we covered in that Road Life one, but it was too like you guys literally like drove by the door and I jumped out so you could find a parking spot, and I got in there, and then immediately it was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get a spot for you guys. You have to physically be in here.
Yeah. Right.
So then, like,
that was a cool
it was
show, though.
definitely,
Just
like a stressful
being
moment.
at the actual. I mean, it's like Eric was saying when we were there. It seemed newer, but being at a place called the Louisville Comedy Club was pretty sweet.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
did
No, for
that.
sure. Anytime you can actually get in at least a club, even if there's sparsely crowd, for anybody that doesn't do comedy, if you can get into what's an actual comedy club, I mean, honestly, 8 people in a comedy club is almost better than having 20 people in a bar.
Yes.
Because you don't really know what those people are there for. if they're
Yeah,
gonna
they
pay
could just be watching like sports or just having a drink with friends or something, and then now there's a comedy show. At least at a comedy club, they paid $5 to get in here.
Right,
They're
right.
paying attention.
Which is nice, especially if you're going up later, because it means they're probably going to stick around.
Yes.
And Tyler did mention or Scott actually mentioned it, but we went to that baseball. I guess you both did. We went to that baseball game, but mainly I'm bringing the baseball game up, which was really cool. I'm a big sports fan.
Yeah.
I like seeing these minor league games, but I was going to mainly bring up the awesome bridge that we ended up walking on our way back to.
Yeah.
Mainly an annoying deal because
the stupid limes, dude.
well, the regular bridge, I was going to say,
yeah.
the bridge that was closer to our hotel was closed down because they were getting ready to have this big show and fireworks display.
Yeah.
Or something.
Which is annoying because it was literally open like the entire time we were there.
I
The
know.
one day that we actually needed it to get across to the city, it was closed down. But yeah, I was gonna say too, fuck limes, especially where in the city we were at, because it really kind of fucked us. They had
it's
zones that you had to like put the lime. It's like those little scooter things or whatever. You had to put them in a special place, and me and Eric couldn't really find out where specifically we had to put them, so we were just wasting time driving around.
Oh my god!
Until we could find a stupid spot to chuck those things. It was bullshit.
Yeah, and I ended up just taking like a night to myself and basically smoking weed and watching TV, and it was like a weird situation because they were planning on like some weekend stuff for the hotel, so like there were people still essentially cleaning the hotel at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, they were there when we got back.
Yeah.
It was crazy. They were really getting this town was getting ready.
Dude,
for sure.
Shutting down bridges. We were
I
talking.
ended up like this random hotel worker ended up like he coming up to me when he saw me smoking weed, and I smoked him out a few times throughout the night.
Good on you to do that with your shitty Delta 8.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I warned him. I was like, this is not real.
They closed off the bridge that's free too.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
You have to go on the toll road.
Now, I don't officially know if I got charged yet.
That's
so
true.
maybe for a few days they don't charge people. I don't know, but
I hope for the simple fact that if you're closing down the free bridge, you got to open up the other one to be free.
You had to pay a toll to walk.
There was
on
one.
it?
No. There was the walking bridge was free, but one of the bridges that was the main highway, like the newer, nicer bridge, was technically a toll bridge. The one that was next to our hotel that was a little older was a free bridge.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, and that was the one that was closed down, which kind of sucked when we were driving back and forth at that point because it's like it's not even open. So yeah, that they were getting ready, which is too bad. Like it actually seemed like a pretty cool situation. They were gonna have this big like air show and fireworks thing, like with music on the water.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse
like
me.
a day later.
A day later, basically. I bet our hotel cost quite a bit more, even with the situation that it was in with the. Although I will say this, the funny thing about it wasn't. Well, it had like mold growing. I mean, I wasn't even willing to take the
issues.
I wasn't willing to. I didn't wash my face or hair during our stay here because I didn't want to put the towels. Even though I know you said later that they were new, I didn't know that.
No, it's weird. Normally, I would say one thing that's pretty consistent is if a hotel has a kitchen in it, it's one of the nicer, cleaner ones. And this was a weird combination of both having a full kitchen and being like kind of gross.
Yeah, it was a bizarre situation.
Yeah.
I don't think is there anything else from Louisville?
The only thing I was thinking is didn't eat breakfast there pretty much once.
Going
over to the Fairfield.
Yeah.
They had a much better option. It wasn't the best, but
No, ours was
Definitely-
bullshit.
Definitely went over there to eat some breakfast.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just
Eric snuck out, like he made a joke about this on stage, but essentially like snuck out, like his words, James Bond style.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
My problem with the old hotel breakfast situation is I'm selfish and I like to eat at a certain time. So like if you walk into these places, you can just eat, but I'm trying to get the food out, and that's a little more to me like just
smuggling goods out.
Yeah, I'm just a little more weird about it. But I mean, I do it, but I'm just weird about it.
My thing is if I had to take food, I did that one time on this trip where I took food out, and I did sneak out the back because it did feel weird.
Oh,
Just
you wouldn't want
coming
to
in, getting the food, and then walking out the front. But typically, I'll just sit down and eat.
I know I've done absolutely the same thing anytime I've taken food out, and you can assume it's like I would imagine as far as taking food out goes, one time you can get away with it because you're never coming back.
Yeah.
So nobody's gonna stop you. After you've kind of made a spectacle of yourself, though, it might be a problem the second day.
Yeah, it
maybe
is.
not, but maybe don't go back the same way.
Right. I mean,
For sure.
it's kind of what it is. So that was that, and
Yeah.
then I was, I kind of did talk about this with Amy a lot, which you can check out the Big E Comedy Venture podcast as well. Most Mondays, sometimes on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but mostly on Mondays. We were on our way to what was supposed to be a really cool weekend for me, Nashville, and for the second time in a week, I left my wallet at a Walmart, which led to quite a bit of self-shaming and self-beratement from me to me. I don't know how else to
Honestly,
say
it would have sucked. I thought about that. I told Scott that when we were in the car when that happened. I'm like, yeah, Eric backed himself up by having extra credit cards and like just other stuff that he can kind of like go, okay, I'm not completely broke right now. I can move forward. He didn't have his ID, which really would suck.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like I lose my wallet, I'm pretty fucked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I really empathized with the fact that that whole situation sucks, and they weren't helpful at all.
Oh my God, I forget
Like-
this lady. So and I have had a history of this throughout my life. If you remember in my last episode I hosted of Getting to Know Me, I said I had, I believe, 7 credit cards in my Ticketmaster, like past cards they're not expired cards. They're cards that I lost and had to get a new card to buy tickets with. So I have a history of it. So it's kind of unfortunately a thing of mine. But yes, this lady, like we got like a half hour away. This is the same thing that happened. We got like Walmart half hour out of the hotel because I try to find ones that are more like conveniently located versus like getting to the hotel and then having to look around. And so we get there and I'm like, I don't have my wallet. And then we call back, Tyler calls back, and the lady's like, she claims she looks, so she doesn't have it. So we drive all the way back, another half hour, and I'm definitely not yelling at myself in the car the entire time. And then we get there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was after, but like, yeah, we get there and find out that.
I think I was still at this point pretty.
Yeah, it was
You
one of
were
those.
upset, but like you were kind of keeping it together because you didn't know if you could find it at the Walmart.
It was
Right.
one of those desperate moments too, where you're like, okay, I called and they said they didn't have it. Maybe I dropped it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
we just get back and it's on the ground in the parking lot,
Yeah.
or I walk back and for some reason
I
it's
see
been
it
sitting
on the thing.
in the self checkout for the last hour and nobody's picked
Right,
it up.
right.
Like, but these are desperate thoughts. These are not
No,
things that
they're-
are almost certainly going to happen.
No, definitely not.
And I would say with Eric has said this before too, that essentially with a wallet, that is one of the items that maybe you can get back when it's still, if you leave money, it's
Yeah.
getting taken.
Oh yeah.
If
I
you
would've been
leave
considering.
something else that like some headphones, they're getting taken.
Yeah, I
but-
wouldn't even drive back for that shit. to
An
be honest with
ID,
you.
it's like people know, hey, that sucks, and I
Yeah.
can't do anything with these cards because they're gonna get
Yeah, these
canceled.
days. I mean, back in the day, I think it was harder at first. People to cancel cards, or it would take longer to kind of go through. These days, I think I can go on my app and like shut it off in a second if I want or something. So, but
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and just take the cash out and bring the wallet. If you're going to be an asshole, take the cash out, turn in the
Which
wallet.
is kind of, I think, what happened here. But anyway,
Yeah,
because I do
that's
believe I had some cash that was not found back in the wallet. But we get there, and I just asked the lady, and I just go, hey, did anyone turn the wallet? She goes, nope. And I'm just like, she did not see, she didn't look again. She didn't say like, I know your friend called, but no, we didn't have anything else. Either just nope. And so I go through definitely a meltdown, a personal meltdown, decide what to do. Because the problem is Nashville was supposed to be such a big deal to me, and the hotels are very expensive. It's not one of those times where we're just kind of, nothing against some other cities, but like in Gainesville, Florida, back like at that time, for example, I have other cards. I was going to be there for 4 days. I could have there wasn't anything big planned. This was one of I had like Pat Green, Key West, Nashville. Those were the three of the very big things for me. And so and I couldn't slow down enough to see how to do things. And I don't know how to get to explain all of this because I think it's kind of a lot.
We essentially moved hotels because it became apparent that
I thought I was I'm spending a lot of money at this point and I'm not even going to go down to Nashville.
Yes.
But the problem was I had told these guys that we had to stay in a place with an actual stove top and a kitchen. And so in this instance also we really couldn't just go to a Super 8. He bought chicken. It wasn't even they bought stuff wow, this is better in the oven, but it's microwavable.
Yeah.
We had to go to a place, and honestly, there's only 2 different places for the most part. There's only a few different brands that I can get to that have these offered, and one of them are Residence Inn and Town Places, and the other are extended stays. And Nashville was very expensive everywhere. Yeah. Very expensive.
So on the way there, you realize you spent more money on the place we're going to than we would have spent in the original place.
Just stayed, yeah.
At that point, you just go, I'm just going to roll down the window for a second and just start, fuck! God damn it!
And it was only and it was only technically an extra $15, but it was time and stress. We could have stayed at this other place that we were originally going to stay, which, by the way, in the end, the wall was found at the place. So if I had slowed down a little bit and taken the more level-headed approach, technically we could have done Nashville literally no different than I planned, other than I would have had to driven back to the Walmart in the morning.
But in your defense for making that decision, too, I think it's important to say, man, when we're doing this sometimes, we were up at and out the door at 10 o'clock in the morning. Then we pull into Walmart at 3 or 4 after hours of driving. Then we go to the fucking Residence Inn. Then we go back to the Walmart. Then we go back to the Residence Inn. So it's 7 o'clock at this point.
No.
And this isn't a one-day thing either. We do this all the time. Yeah. So we're delirious at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not making excuses in the sense that you're right, though. I mean, it's me. I have an issue in my life with wallets. I've actually been really good on this trip, and now it was twice in a week, but I haven't lost anything since. So or whatever. It is a hard thing. I could what happened was I looked at the hotel and I'm oh, I remember this hotel being $250. So if I can get anything under $250, and then we ended up getting one for $220, and I'm well, that's on, or $215. I'm well, that's under, and that's $40 cheaper. And then stupidly, when we're driving back, I thought I should just see how much that was going to be. Why would there be any benefit to that? Well, the benefit would be me going, okay, I was right, I saved money. And it turned out it was less than the fucking one we were paying at, and we were already there, and that's gas money and miles, and oh my God. But that is what it is. And I will say, we'll get into this in a different episode, but Scott has kind of recently learned through just one stay on what it's a little more like to plan some of this stuff out. And the problem is when I'm, like you said, when I'm doing that, it's not just in this one moment of that one hotel. There's really is the other days and the tiredness and the fact that I know you guys have the food there and just a lot of things. My ID is way harder. I'm starting to think we were trying to go on the Michigan Gov and try to get it, and it was freezing, and I'm how long is this even going to take to get me? And I have all these things we have ahead of time booked with no ID now.
No, and I'm sure we will talk about it when we get to that time period. But I will just say, we all have our different roles that we kind of have taken on or that we do on this trip or whatever. And one that Eric pretty much exclusively does is all of the planning, because it doesn't make sense
for where we're going to be.
It doesn't. Yeah, we'll look up open mics and things like that a lot of the time, or a decent amount of the time. But when it comes to planning where we're going to stay, it really needs to be one guy doing it, and it needs to be the guy who's spending the money. And we've talked about before, like if you have bands or something on
you
tour,
have a
they have a tour manager, and that's the whole tour manager's job is just figuring out.
Right.
Yeah, not to go up on stage as well or do a podcast or do any of the other stuff.
Release content.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't want to make that a whiny thing, but it's not a whiny thing to me, but it's just an explanation of in that moment why it's not. Well, it was probably a little harder for me to really slow down and take it a little, like I said, level-headed. Yeah. Either way, I'm not. And then I will say, God, I don't even want to keep hammering on this. But then, like, we finally get over it a little bit. I kind of get over it. We get back to the hotel. We kind of do our thing. I wake up the next morning, and I find out that they do have the card and this. And I'm like, okay, great. And I talk to these guys, like, should I still try to do Nashville and this and that? And then I think, I'm not going to get into all the minutia, but we find a compromise of a hotel downtown that I can kind of still use the points I was supposed to use and yada, yada. Yeah. We are all like, okay, you know what? We're making the best of it, blah, blah, blah. And then we get there and the guy goes, oh, we do have a room for you, but it's Sunday night, not Saturday night. Yeah. And it's just like, and I just like can nothing. And so that happens. And we still keep trying to decide. And finally, and I will give Scott a lot of credit for this, and I do appreciate it. I don't know if I said it enough, but I do. I finally asked Scott, like, dude, if you could just give me 2-3 hours, go in a day, Tyler and I will just go and we'll do a little bar hopping. It'll let me get a taste of Nashville. I have already realized this is something I'm going to have to come back to anyway. Yeah. And so I do appreciate that. And Scott did that for me. And
it totally worked out because it was a situation like we kind of, when we were figuring out what we were going to do, we're like, you know what? I'm the one who's the least interested in Nashville, the one where it, like the least amount fulfills my interest. It gave you an opportunity to go there for a little bit and to not spend. You were still concerned about money, so it was a little bit less. Through
that, by the way, I found out that on this trip there is a budget. Eric Fady is the Venmo, Eric ERICFADIE. There is a budget. Honestly, we stay at some of these hotels because I've gotten some real nice hints from people. I have this credit card that I'm spending money on anyway that's just earning us points. That's the reason that we end up staying at nicer places is full-on credit card points that I've earned through just normal spending, not because I have the money saved up, but on that much anyway. So my point is, like, we and Tyler found out that honestly, I need Nashville to be a separate vacation.
Yes.
The drinks were expensive.
Everything was
expensive. Hotels.
But it was awesome.
No.
That's what I would say. I definitely want to do that for a vacation.
It was wild. It was packed down there.
They also had a marathon that they had run.
I still get the impression, though, that that's not much different than how it normally is
on the weekends.
Because I don't think a lot of those bachelorette parties on the big buses were there because of the marathon.
There were like 50 to 100 buses going by all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I saw a lot of like cowboy boots. I saw a lot of crop tops with under boob. Like you're not
it's
running.
A good day.
You're not. Yeah, you're not running a marathon in these things.
No. It was.
I just mean people come there for the marathon.
Sure.
You don't have to run in the marathon to be there.
Yeah, I mean sometimes in a big city, if they embrace a marathon, even the people get excited that it's even there, and they go downtown for the day just to watch that, and now they're downtown already.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Yeah.
But still, it was. I would say it was personally pretty close to my heaven. We ended up going to this Alan Jackson bar. We went to a few, but Alan Jackson bar is one of my favorite singers, and did not disappoint. Had an awesome live performances all over the place, rooftop karaoke, stuff like that.
Rooftop. They have 4 floors of like different things with different people doing stuff.
I could literally have stayed in that bar from open to close if I wanted to.
Now, honestly, there was enough to do. Like if we had been there longer, I would have insisted on doing karaoke.
Oh, I would have too.
But like for the time that we were there, it was a good place to spend because a lot of the first place we went to was packed to the point where like you couldn't walk. You were like squeezing through people and making people irritated. You're walking by and stuff. And it was honestly, I was like, man, I hope they're not all like this because this is intense. And then we went downstairs to this other bar in that same place. That was really nice. And we got a little side like seats right next to the band.
Right.
We got to chill there. So it was awesome. There were a lot of cool things. But if it was as packed as that first bar, I would not have liked it.
And I did love too, just as a very small experience, picking you guys up. I thought it was funny too because I was stressing out. Like you told me where to be around what specific time, and I get there and there are no parking lots anywhere. And this place is fucking packed. Now it's like 7:00 on a Saturday there, or
right? Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, on the weekend. And so I'm pulling up. I don't see them anywhere. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to have to drive around the block. I start calling Eric's number. I start calling Tyler's number. Nobody's picking up their phones. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, I hear Eric smacking the back of the van as I'm driving.
You wanted to? Okay, so this is hilarious too. Eric, we saw Scott drive by, and it was a red like walking sign for us or whatever. And Eric's like, "No, we got to get to the van." And just runs into traffic and runs down the like street. And this little kid next to me turns to me and he's like, "Man, that man's crazy." And I was like, "You have no idea." And his mom started laughing, then turned green, and I left. But like he was seriously like waving his arms, just like, "Hey, hey!"
Yeah, and I was booking it.
God bless him for doing it, because I'm happy that he managed to catch the thing.
And I will say, this led into an interesting evening because now I have gotten really good. I have not drinking nearly as much as I would have in my younger days on this trip. I don't day drink really anymore. I don't pregame. I really just, when I'm going to drink is when it's time to start drinking. But like we did this thing, and it's like so many things with drinking. I think you can do it with other drugs, maybe like with marijuana. I don't think it's nearly like this, but with drinking, the idea of always like, there's always like, oh, this is the plan. And then once you get a buzz that early in the day, it is really hard to keep to that plan or not want to keep just going. Or not, and so like I'm sitting here, and originally we're like, okay, this will be it. I'm doing a good thing. You know, I got a little bit of Nashville. We'll stop at just a cheap hotel. And I started looking like, oh, where's some little country bars along the way? And it was like 2 hours away. And the hotels by this place had very, very rough reviews. And it's like 7 p.m. I'm now like day drunk. And I'm like, nope, I want to get there because I want to go. I want more. I want to continue the evening.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, too, can we talk about like the dynamic of drinking, too, that I kind of brought up to you at the time? Is I'm like, you get in the van and you're like pretty wasted. I'm like,
you're
drunk. You're drunk.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about wanting to go to this bar that's 2.5 hours away. And I'm like, that's not how drinking works.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to
gonna
keep your
down.
buzz going
I
the
know.
whole time, which you were not. You weren't drinking in the car.
No, I actually, by the way, considered buying alcohol in the gas station the one time.
That's
to
the
keep
only way
drinking.
you could do done.
No, that's if I were really devoted to continuing drinking in your position,
That's
that's
what you
exactly
do.
what I would have done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, that didn't need to happen. But like I felt like I wanted it. I wanted this feeling. I was already in the mood. I had the cowboy hat on and stuff. And so we're
I
driving.
have the cowboy hat.
It's a mood. It's a vibe. You know?
Exactly.
You get that cowboy hat on and you're drunk. You're staying drunk.
Yeah.
I would say for me, you know what's funny? Drinking these days, the only time I really drink is karaoke or if I'm listening to country music. I don't really drink nearly what I used to, just generically. Like when we do comedy, I basically don't drink. I have like a beer or something like that. But anyway, so what happened was but because I've been drinking, I had to go to the bathroom more than normal. And so we're about an hour away from where I'm still pretty convinced that we're going. These hotels, I know they look bad. I know the reviews have looked terribly bad, but I'm still telling them like, we'll get there and we'll see on the outside how they are. And if they're at least livable for a few hours, we're going to go there so I can walk to this shady country bar.
No, you were definitely committed to this thing to get to this bar full on. But then Scott has to go to the bathroom.
No, I
Everybody
did.
need gas? Oh, you had to go to the bathroom.
It was my own
It was the
undoing.
only time having to be like, I have to go to the bathroom.
No, it was my own undoing in the end.
Yep.
So we're getting off on an exit. And I did start to notice
random exit.
Random exit. None of us knew it going into it. But I will say, because we just said, I told him, like, dude, next exit, I got to go.
Yeah.
I have to piss, next exit. And we're starting to get off. And I will say, I think you guys heard this, right? Like I said, there was a few things. There was that Pam Tillis or Tammy, not Pam Tillis.
You definitely were like, we've been on this road.
Oh my God.
Love it or.
Not Lyle Lovett.
No, damn it.
God damn it.
I can't think of her name right now. But like, it was like, there was a sign and there was a few of the restaurants. They're on the exit and it just clicked to me. They looked a little familiar. And I remember going like, we stopped on the way out here just a little bit out of Nashville, like an hour or so out of Nashville. And the minute we got on the exit ramp, it was like, this is where we fucking stayed the very first night.
On this trip. Which is like, how of all the, because it wasn't like Eric being like, oh, we're near hurricane
Hurricane Mills.
Yeah.
Hurricane Mills or anything. We were just like, next exit we have to pull off.
Yeah, I had to go.
And
next
we go to
exit.
that same exact place the first night we came out.
Almost 17 weeks ago to the day. Like,
Yeah.
it was like 16 weeks and 5 days. I mean,
We tried to get the same room had.
we did.
But I guess
Eric definitely was like, okay, I mean, I want to go to this bar, but this seems too perfect.
no, yeah, we were in the bathroom and we were like going to the gas station, and we were all just laughing hysterically that we had been here 17 weeks ago on the very first night of the trip. And I was just sitting there and I'm like, I can't. I'm already kind of tired anyway. It was too big of a sign.
Yeah.
So I just got a 12-pack of Busch Light station, and we went to the hotel that we'd stayed at the first night.
yeah, and I got to explain the way you were drinking here was this is a a little
It's a
bit of
Days
a roach
Inn.
motel. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lower end Days Inn, even maybe possibly.
motel.
And there's like a parking lot outside. Eric pulls out a
Yep.
motel chair.
One of these
from
hotels where
inside.
you have like your doors facing the outside.
Yes.
It's not a hallway.
Yes. So he pulls out a motel chair from inside.
And a motel chair. So like not like just a wood chair. It had like whatever, like padding on it.
Yeah, this is an inside chair.
Like, it's an inside chair. It's definitely inside chair.
It posts up in the parking lot. He's
But
got his
behind
12-pack of beer
Behind his van.
behind
He's
his
like
van.
set up a
Eventually.
Was-
First
were
he
you
was
first
on
out
the
front?
sidewalk
Yeah,
right
first
outside.
I was on the sidewalk.
Were you told to move?
No, I thought it'd be cooler because it was more of a view of the road and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And I could play my music through my phone where I thought it might be a little quieter for other
Yep.
people.
And so we absurdly are like you're like 6-7 beers in? Like you
Oh,
drank
yeah.
quite a bit that night.
Yeah, I did.
And,
I put them down.
And there was this moment where you got the motel chair outside. You had to pee. You peed behind the van. The pee trickled down into the spot with the chair and the beer to where now there's a puddle of pee just in that general vicinity.
And you sat
you
back
and I
down,
are,
didn't
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And
Peed, sat in his pee.
yes,
Essentially.
and you and I
Stepped
are
in.
not known for being quiet.
No.
No.
Are
Absurdly loud.
talking.
Not known for quiet. There's a range of normal that they just can't hit unless they're whispering.
So we're screaming at each other in the parking lot at like 11:30 at night. And this woman comes out who works at the motel, and I cannot believe how incredibly nice she was. She looks at the entire situation.
I know, dude. I know. Like, I mean, and by the way, we're not celebrities. I know we're doing this little trip or anything, but we're not like celebrities in any capacity. We're just guys at this $60 night hotel. And you're right. I mean, there's a six empty beers next to me, a hotel chair out by my van. She can't really see the piss, to be fair, but she might be able to smell it. I don't know.
And the piss, it was not discreet. It was definitely touching the leg of the chair.
True, that's true. But I'd say I don't think she got too close.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But she
That's
just
like
goes,
oil's leaking or something.
she just goes, "Hey guys, we've had some complaints. Can you keep it down a little bit?"
I know. That's
That
it.
was it.
That's it.
Yeah,
One
not
of-
a get the fuck out.
one
What
of
is
the nice-
happening here?
One of the nicer shushes we've had.
Yeah.
We recently had another. You know,
We did have another shush.
I want to. We're not going to talk about this place on this part of this, but I am going to, just because you mentioned that, we've had more than our share of shush moments on this trip.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we finally had one where Tyler
I disagree.
agrees with the us and not the shushy.
Yes, I agree with that with Eric.
Why don't you explain the situation?
We were at a cabin and this old couple comes in like pretty late, honestly, gets all their shit in, goes for a walk. It's about 9:30 on a Saturday night at a KOA. So like not crazy for you to be talking.
And they have a cabin that they can go into. It's not even like
Yes.
there were tents right next to each other.
And they went on a walk. They left to go on a walk. So it's not even like, oh, we're in bed, we can't sleep. Shut up, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
By the way,
kind of
this
situation.
cabin is also next to a highway.
Yeah, exactly. More noise. If you want to talk about like noise problems, lady, you're gonna bitch about those goddamn trucks going by. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
They get back from this walk, and immediately we're talking at 9:30 at night on a Saturday, and this woman's like, "You guys need to like quiet down. Like, can you? Do you know there's other people here or something along those lines?" And me and Eric like, "Yeah, okay." Like whatever.
It's like,
and she
dude,
went in her cabin, and I was like, honestly, that was a bullshit shush.
I mean, I told him, like, what if we had been doing a bonfire or in a campground on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
We very likely could have been sitting around a fire having some beers. Then you want to talk about some possible loudness. I mean,
at least be in your cabin. Be like, this is getting annoying. I'm gonna pop out and say something.
What is the
we can
earliest?
hear you in here.
What is the earliest you're allowed to shush at a campground?
I'd say 10:30.
10:30.
Fair.
Yeah, on a Saturday.
Even 10:30 on a Saturday, I would argue a little early.
On a Saturday, I would say but I'll say
11.
10:30.
Yeah,
Yes.
10:30 bare minimum.
By 11, then yes, you're allowed to tell somebody. But dude, it is a Saturday. This is not a Tuesday. And by the way, even Tuesdays don't matter to me in campgrounds because mostly in a KOA, it's not like a hotel where you're at maybe a Fairfield or a Hilton or some guy's legit like in town for business.
Yeah.
And you're like blaring music in your room, and he's like, dude, I got a 6 a.m. conference call. Like, dude, we are at a campground. I mean, campgrounds are just in general by nature.
And it wasn't late. Like,
No.
I shush these guys more than anybody shushes them. And I am saying that was a bullshit shush.
Right.
Yeah.
So that night, I'm really upset we didn't do more references or a little video about us being at this hotel room, because honestly, as corny as it is, we all did find it very nostalgic and weird to be in. Like we regularly kept just sitting there like, this is fucking crazy. Like we're at the same hotel, and like looking at Tyler had done some little interviews of us that he played for us, and
we watched him again.
It was
weird,
very odd
that we had recorded the very first night in that hotel.
Yes, and it's funny because like and then in that video, some of us are talking about like how we think it's gonna go. And we're like, oh, it's going really good so far, and we've already wrote some jokes on Facebook, and Scott said we're listening to D12 songs. So it's like, it's like, dude,
going good.
Looking at now that we have had some contentious moments and we have had to live with each other for a little bit, the idea, even for us, that was very stupidly optimistic. Like, of course, if there had been an issue at that point, that'd be very scary.
Yeah,
like, it was like
day one,
right?
Day one,
12 hours in.
Yeah, not sure about this.
Yeah, I feel like that is a end.
Well, I already found out that everyone likes music I hate or something, or I don't know.
Yeah,
you know, like both of you guys were like just blaring music, and I'm like,
the interview's just we've gotten in 4 fights since we've been on
Yeah.
this trip.
We're hoping to really turn it around.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Eric to go to sleep so I can put a pillow over his head.
Right, and it's like,
night.
and it's like obviously it would never be that extreme, but it's like listening to them though. Like I said, there was a very stupidly like
innocent
optimism. Like, oh, we were listening to some music that we all liked for a little bit. Oh, and we wrote a joke or two. And
yeah,
like, of course,
the amount of jokes we've written, the amount of stuff we've done.
Yeah,
compared to that like little bit, and we were proud of it.
Right.
Man, we're 4 months in, grizzled.
No, for
hardened
sure.
by the road.
For sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Heading into 4.5 months.
Yeah. And so that was a very wild experience, and I am really bummed that we didn't do a little more kind of a video or a photo, like at least a minimal selfie of us out in front of it.
Yeah.
But I took a photo and get a little post, but way too late at night and drunk and shit. But anyway, so there was that, and then I will say this: after that we did go to outside of Memphis, Tennessee, but basically there's really not much to say. We were at a kind of a transitional place between Memphis and Arkansas. It was not in Memphis in any capacity. It was only in Memphis in the sense that that's technically in the greater area of Memphis. So I don't really think there was anything there that I remember.
I honestly have blocked this from my mind and don't remember.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Like, I'm struggling to remember this time period.
Remember.
This might help you. It was my favorite hotel by an highway on this trip so far. Remember?
Oh, I do. Okay, I do remember.
It was like a Fairfield, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, yep. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is wild. I like blocked that from my memory.
Right.
Totally.
So here's what I'm gonna do, and I'm glad we almost ended this with Arkansas. We're gonna talk about our time in Little Rock, and then we're gonna come back on Thursday and do another one, and then another one next Tuesday, and by then we will fully kind of catch up to where we're at. But we're going on almost 45 minutes here, and so we're gonna talk about this, but I'm just kind of saying that's the situation.
And this hotel thing is gonna take probably a little bit. So
exactly.
This is probably a good call.
This is.
Holy shit.
By far our worst hotel experience on a trip. We have at this point started to usually look for like reviews and stuff, but I once in a while with all the stuff There's something gets through the colander, and and I fucking missed the spot here. I looked at it. I knew the price was really, really cheap. It was like $70 after taxes for a place downtown Little Rock. I didn't know. I guess it's known later that Little Rock isn't that great of a town. I didn't know that going in. I know the pictures are bullshit online. I know they put their best photos, but I still looked at it and I thought, well, it's downtown. One night, we're literally going to be getting there at like 3 or 4 and then leaving at like 8 in the morning or 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
So like I thought, no big deal.
And we're parked in the front. We still don't know how bad it's going to be.
Yeah.
And we get there at like 2:45. Check-in is at 3.
Right.
And we've dealt with a million hotels at this point.
Dude, they
It's
let you
not a
check in
big deal.
hours. Dude,
Not a big fucking deal. No.
just not to be a ooh, but the Marriott's let you check in very early if you want to. Like basically as long as the room's available, like you can check in at 1.
Which should be available. Honestly, that should be a thing.
And so we had 2 separate things going on where we wanted to check in like 15 minutes early. And then also like you ended up looking up because being a Diamond member from all of the places you've stayed, there are certain rewards you're allowed to get.
Right. Through the Wyndham Diamond membership. Wyndham is not as nice, obviously, as the Marriott, but whatever. But they allow you, it says, you can get an upgraded room if one is available at the thing. And so the lady, for one, we're 15 minutes early. And she's like, it's a $25 fee if you're not, if you do it before 3. And I'm like, it's 15 minutes. I'm like, hey, I don't know if it matters. But at this point, I didn't even see that I was a Diamond thing person yet. I just was like, I have a Wyndham credit card. I'm kind of a member. Does that help at all? She's like, no. And I'm like, and I'll admit, I kind of was like, Marriott lets you do it, but whatever. And then I went back in and I just said, hey, no big deal if you don't. But it, according to the app, through my credit card, do you have any, I can get an upgraded room for free. And she was just like, you have the room you have. Well, I don't know what that means, by the way. And I'm like,
but she's not gonna look up anything else.
And we went back and forth a little bit.
Didn't she ask you why you thought you deserved?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. These guys can both attest. I am not somebody I am so anti-confrontation.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do
I do not push back on things.
He was worried about asking her about the room. And we were both like, no, just ask her.
Right.
It's
I
a part
almost
of your thing.
didn't even want to ask because I'd already had the little scuffle about the 15 minutes.
Yes.
And so I did ask. And she just says, like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, on the app, I have a credit card through this hotel. And I did explain to her a few times. And then, yes, eventually she goes to, why do you think you deserve an upgrade exactly? And I was like, and finally I was just like, because I spend a lot of money at these hotels. And I hate answer. It's such a douchey answer. But I wouldn't have even minded if she could have just, even if she faked it. She didn't even fake it.
Yeah.
She could have just gone, oh yeah, let me look up. Yeah, no. Or something. Or oh yeah, sorry, no, we're booked tonight.
She's like, why do you think you deserve this?
I'm telling her because I have a credit card through your hotel and I've stayed here 20 fucking nights this year already at Wyndham Hotels.
Because your app says I deserve it. That's why.
Yeah, that's all I need.
And I should say there was more there too. When I finally did check in, I was like, I wanted to confirm the parking was behind the hotel, but I thought it was, but I still wasn't totally sure. Like, so is the parking back here, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then she never answers. She's sitting right there. And eventually someone behind her says, yeah, it's back there. And it's oh my God. And then you guys I'll have you guys describe the parking structure.
It was the most disgusting parking structure I've ever seen in my whole life, bar none.
Yeah.
And I've been to some shitty places.
I will see you're disgusting and raise you also a dangerous.
Dangerous. Yes, it was also dangerous.
Disgusting and dangerous.
Shattered glass we did see.
Presumably from somebody breaking windows into cars.
Yes.
I mean, what else? These were not
or liquor bottles, I guess.
A lot of these places
they
will have
look like liquor bottles.
Okay.
A lot of these places had trash too, like that we've been to. This place had full-on food that was just out and spread out all over the ground. Yeah. It was so weird.
What about the fact that the gate to the parking structure wires are just hanging out of the ceiling?
And it's just permanently open for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not closed. It's not stopping
open
anyone.
Implies the gate is up. The gate is not up. The handle is just broken.
Yeah, it's broken off.
Right.
I mean, piles of cigarette butts just in random spots in the floor.
Yep.
Where I don't know, like they just decided here's an ashtray.
I should say
Reach
this:
for them.
if you haven't seen this, I'm going to let you guys continue talking. If you haven't seen these, by the way, we did post a few videos of what this place was like to give you a little more visual. Okay.
Yeah. So we go to walk into the elevator, and it is fucking disgusting.
And
it
falling
reeks
apart.
like piss.
And we don't want to do it. We don't think it's
falling
safe.
apart.
Yeah,
it's falling
literally.
apart. And this is not us. I want to be
We
clear.
got out of the elevator to try to go down the
Well,
stairs.
I want to be clear about the elevator real quick. This is not us. I've never in my life felt unsafe in an elevator, to be honest. Not once, not ever. This one, the ceiling is falling down, and when you get in the elevator, it's going
There's
up and
wires
down,
hanging about.
There's what? Yeah, I mean, we're only gonna fall one story, but still, we're like, let's check the stairwell. You want to explain the stairwell, Tyler?
We're on fourth. We're on the fourth, I believe.
The first time we were, the first
Oh,
time we
you're
were a
right.
little
You're right,
higher.
because then we moved.
Yeah.
So you want
Four stories.
So we're
we're
like,
gonna fall.
let's try the stairwell. You want to tell all that? You want to explain how that went? Tyler?
It was disgusting. It smelled like straight feces. We opened the door. It's one of those, like, normally with a parking structure, they have an open window or like it's open to everything.
Or there's
This-
lights possibly
or
on,
there's
by the
light-
way.
or there's lights or something.
It's pitch black.
Black and reeks of feces.
yeah.
And I walked in like 2 feet and was just like, no, I'm not going.
I didn't even make it in the door.
Yeah, it reeked and it was scary. It was very looming.
And you say like, oh yeah, normally they vent the air in these things, or whatever. Yeah, normally there's not human feces inside of it either.
Yeah,
Right.
So
I mean, it was
that's-
pitch black
no,
too.
absolutely.
And if there was ever a description that waft out, like when people talk about something air wafting, it just like was like, I mean, it was so thick, the disgusting smell.
Yeah.
was.
I
You
almost
could
threw up.
practically see it.
no,
Like, you could practically
Scott,
see the fog.
We opened the door one of the times and Scott was gagging, like
Yeah.
straight up gagging because it smelled. There were flies about. There were flies just around the door and stuff.
And we had a moment that really kind of explained what this place was like too, and that we saw another gentleman walk into the parking structure and go inside of that stairway like it was nothing.
Didn't come back out.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't
He
come back out,
went-
just strolled in.
When it didn't have his phone out with a light or anything either.
No.
It just went into the dark.
Yeah.
The terrifying dark. And we took a video. On the video, if you pause it, you can see Eric. None of us saw it when we first were in there, but there definitely was a man sleeping at the base of the stairs.
Yeah.
So it was like there were people in there. So you shouldn't be going in that fucking thing.
Also, several of the patrons of the hotel were carrying their materials in garbage bags.
Yeah.
Yes.
We get up to the 4th floor where our room is. Actually, I think it
Seventh.
might have been 7th floor where our room is. And there was a young woman with her pill bottle out, just sitting outside of a room.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get to the
young lady of the night. I'm gonna say she's the young
yeah,
lady of the night.
Yeah.
we get to the room.
No judgment, but she was prostituting, presumably for those pills.
Right. And then we get to the room, and I don't know what it is, but the refrigerator situation to me
Oh, it
is
was disgusting.
This was
go ahead.
No, this is to me like the red line where it was like, there's no way we can make this work. Right? Was that
Yeah,
the moment?
it was pretty close. No, for me, it was the parking structure. It was when you read reviews about the parking structure
Yeah.
about break-ins.
Openly
Honestly,
said.
if the parking structure, if for some reason I felt like the van was going to be safe in that parking structure, we still would have stayed in that hotel. I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I hate to say it.
It
no,
was
that's fair.
disgusting to
No.
be and we would have stayed. We've been at like shitty hotels. I would have got my sleeping bag for sure. But
we did say this after this one. I would have stayed now at the one in Homestead that we have. I've only left the
Yeah.
hotel twice in my life,
Yeah.
and now the first one I would have stayed at.
where
Looking
the,
at it
mobs,
now.
where the mobsters tried to buy a hooker.
we were,
Right.
we were
would've
such
stayed there.
kids. We were so green in Homestead.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah, but
Seriously.
their mini fridge is full of fucking old food. Not like
Frozen to it, by
Yeah.
the way.
Not
Yes.
like somebody the previous tenant.
Yeah, like
This
someone
was like
sorry.
weeks ago that somebody
No,
had left.
it
No, it
was
wasn't-
molding. Some of it was molding.
Right. It wasn't someone like us. Like if we left, if we're leaving here today and we're like, fuck it, there's a half a bag of frozen or half a bag of cheddar cheese and we just we don't want to use it. That's not what we're talking here. It'd be like if that cheddar cheese was now starting to mold.
Yes, and
Yeah.
frozen to the back.
Yeah.
And you had to rip it from it. Like, it was disgusting. It smelled terrible.
There
It
was a dirty towel just hanging in the bathroom. Like,
I mean, you want to talk about what did the person do that quote unquote cleaned this room?
Cleaned.
The hotel, the TV didn't have a remote. So that means I would have had to call down there. And I can only imagine how that conversation would have gone.
Why do you think you deserve a remote?
Right. The bathroom, what is it? The sink drain was just out.
We were trying to figure out what this device was for a couple of minutes because it's just sitting on the counter. And then we realized, it was like the drain to the inside of the sink, and it had just been placed for some reason on the counter.
We ended up getting another place, but we had to stay there until we left to the comedy show.
We didn't really have much we could do.
Yeah,
like we had about 3 hours we had to sit there.
Yep, and we didn't really want to leave the van in this parking structure,
or just sit in the van. By the way,
or just sit it.
Right.
But I was just gonna say, in between the time we were waiting, also had someone jiggle our handle in the room, trying to get in to see if the door was open.
Yep, a young gentleman walking door to door, shaking door handles.
Just a young entrepreneur looking for
and Eric definitely popped his head out and saw a guy go behind a corner.
Yeah, like absolutely, like
running out of there.
And on top of that too, so we just explored this place for a little bit too on our way out. We ended up. They said they had an exercise room.
I forgot about that guy.
Take a look at it because we just wanted to see what it was like. And Eric walks up, and tries to open the door, and the entire bottom half of the door swings outwards.
Yep.
But the top half does not move. And there's a maintenance guy nearby. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna fix that door later."
No,
that door broke.
That door broke.
I'm gonna get to
it later.
The worker just like that door broke. What I mean,
I don't believe he's gotten to it yet.
No, I don't believe so. And I will admit, I try to be really respectful in these places, even in the crappier ones. I always try to clean up and this and that. We all ate meals, but we were very like setting everything on things, not touching things.
Want to touch it.
And like I had yogurt and I just chucked it into the fucking cart. I'm like, fuck this place.
Dude, Tyler and I had made the mistake of getting a rotisserie chicken earlier in that day.
Yeah,
I feel like that was such a bad call. There's something so like if it was like a sandwich meat or something, it would have been at least a little less gross. But something about pulling meat off like a bone on a fucking chicken.
I mean, that doesn't really gross me out,
like,
but the place grossed me out. So like really eating anything in there is going to gross me out.
And so I will say in the end, I did get another place. And by the way, Tyler already knows about this, but I called up and I left a very bad complaint. I'm sure I could call again. I haven't given any reviews online for these places, but this one I left terrible. 0, 0, 0 for everything wrote in. And they did finally, by the way, get back with my claim. And what they gave me is $30, which is about half of what their night was.
Bastards.
I mean, I was actually shocked that they even gave me anything. I really thought it was just going to be like.
I would have assumed it would have been all or nothing.
I know. I don't know what the $30. And I'm sure I could call and complain about why it's not $60. Yeah. And I am a cheap ass. You guys have really got to know that about me. But in this setting, I just think you're going to have to sit on that little line and you already got the $30 and they're just going to say that's what we came up with. I just don't.
If people talk about like assault victims in court, like reliving your trauma.
I know. Exactly. Right. Exactly. That's what I'd be doing.
Getting victimized yet again.
I know. I kind of was like, fuck it, fine. We got our $30. Technically, we stayed there for a little. I will, I'm going to hold that because it's coming up in one of my next podcasts, the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast. It's going to be something, and so I'm going to hold on what I was about to say. But okay, yeah, there you go. Coming Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So we're going to end it there. We did a lot, and like I said, we've been meaning to catch up. We're going to do two in the next week and a half to kind of catch us back up because right now we're literally in Kansas and we're talking about Arkansas. But we had a situation where we did like comedy in Arkansas and Mississippi was like boom, boom. Then Wichita, Kansas, and Oklahoma City. So we'll catch up. We'll do another one on Thursday and another one earlier in the next week to kind of get caught up. There is always the Two Hippies, One Drunk regular shows that have nothing to do with the podcast. Will be on Wednesday. Is going to be me doing a list of things that I find stupid, basically just things in life that I find stupid. And these guys are going to give their opinions on that, whether they're valid or not, I suppose, awesome. Whether my feelings are valid or not. I do the Big E Comedy Venture podcast with Amy, and I am going to be doing it tomorrow unless Amy has something. So assuming Amy's good, I'll be doing that tomorrow. And that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Happy's Mother's Day.
Oh yeah,
everyone.
there.
Yeah.
Mothers and shit.
You
Yeah, hi,
kiss
Mom.
ass.
Yeah.
I hope my mom
I
is
love
not-
my parents.
I do too. I just hope they're not watching at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes mine are.
Yeah, if you are watching, sorry. And then also happy Mother's Day.
I'm not sorry. You support me no matter what. So
All
I
right.
love your parents.
See you guys later.
Yep.